We had a controversial finish at Richmond over the weekend. Nothing like a good NASCAR controversy. We'll talk about that and a little bit of Indy Racing World Series to talk about. Yeah, we're going to break that down on this week's FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Fluck.
I'm Eric Richardson.
And I timed that as he was going to drink. So,
Cheers.
yeah, I'll have like a massive headache. So I'm like, you know what? I'll skip the alcohol tonight. I did drink last night. So why not? We'll
Yeah,
get
how'd
right
that
in.
celebration go?
Yeah, it was a lot more subdued than I thought it would be. Um, it was Tuesday night. You know, I have to actually shout out to Purdue playing in the Final Four this weekend, so I'll be at the game. Oh,
I'm
that was
jealous.
brutal. That was brutal for the credit card, but
If I hadn't been on the road, I probably would have been at the either Sweet 16 or Elite Eight over in Detroit.
oh yeah, that would have been close too. So Indy Racing World Series, we had the one of the long races at Auto Club.
Yep.
Um, was it supposed to be set like evening? I thought it was going to be completely dark there. Or was
Yeah, it was an evening start time.
okay,
I thought it was
yeah,
gonna
because
be darker as we finished
that's
with
what
the
I
length
thought.
of
I'm
the
like, it's
race.
still kind of dusk. You know, it wasn't quite even dusk yet. But no matter. But
That's something. It's something a little different. Got to go
if
under the lights.
yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was fun for me because hey, I walked out of there with my first win.
Got the
So
dub.
um,
Congrats.
yeah, that thank you.
That was a great call.
That was the most nerve-wracking stretch ever because I'm out on this island all by myself. So basically, to break it down, it was a 125 lap race, 250 miles, one of the longer races of the season. And we had a caution around lap
It's what,
89.
44 to go.
Yeah. So I knew I was going to pit. Like there was no doubt in my mind I was going to pit. I just wasn't sure if, who else was going to pit. And two, if that was going to be enough to get me to the end. And crew chief is like, oh, we're going to have to stop again. But it's been wrong in the past.
I don't think
Well,
it fully counts like the fuel savings and different map
yeah, right.
settings.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing its best to guess, but it doesn't always get it right. And I'm just like, I'm right on the edge. I'm like, if I can shave off like 2 laps, maybe, I'm going to make it. And so I was like one of two people that pit. One of the lapped cars pit. So I was a little surprised about that. So we're coming out, and
I
I'm
was
just thinking,
right on that edge of like, yeah, I want
couple
to.
people came down on the apron, and then when they realized nobody else was going in, um, they stayed
Yeah, I
out.
stayed out.
If I would have been in the front of that group, I was going no matter what. I 100% was going. Now my question is, if I would have led the group into the pit or been towards the front, I think people would have followed me in. And they didn't. So I come out. I am the only one on the lead lap with new tires and a full tank of fuel. And I estimated that the rest of the group had about 10 to go before they had to pit.
Yep.
So I come out of there starting fifth or sixth place. And then about 10 laps later, people start green flag pitting. And I'm like, okay, so far, step one, check. You stayed out an extra lap.
Yeah, it
And
actually worked out. I got a bonus point for doing that. And I was a little bogged down, so I just wanted to get a clean track to run.
so you stayed out an extra lap, took the lead, then you pit, and then I just took off. And I had about a lap and a quarter, lap and a half advantage on everyone. And then I went right into fuel save. I had 35, 36 seconds with about 25 laps to go. And it was just like, I never had any doubt I was going to make it. What the heck? I said stopwatch, not timer. Google. It's the second time in a row that's happened. I had no doubt in my mind I was going to make it. It was going to be really, really close. I ended up finishing, Austin Johnson actually was nearby and he ended up hanging
Oh,
out and I
he
I
helped you big time.
he gave me a nice little jump. But the thing is, I went through and calculated after the fact. Even if he wouldn't have done that, I still would have won by about 3 seconds. And
Yeah,
instead of finishing with about a lap and a half of fuel, I would have finished with like 7/10 of a lap of fuel. So it just made it a little more comforting that I could, the last lap, I turned off the fuel saving and went. So you see 33, 34, 35, 34, and then there's like a 32.8 on the last lap because I knew I was going to make it. And I'm just like, I can't chance this.
yeah, getting that help, and then we were getting down like inside of 10 and kind of that 7 to go, and I think we picked up that we weren't going to catch. But if you didn't have the help, and if we had stayed in line to like the last lap, it could have been real
One,
close.
one of
There was a
them,
freight train moving
yeah,
around.
that was what was making me nervous was one, would I screw up because I had a couple cases where I touched the apron and had to save it. I had somebody cut me off and ended up on the apron on the front stretch and had to ride that out. And I lost about 8 spots on that bit. And I'm just like, as long as I don't screw this up, I'm going to have the fuel. Will they catch me? And I'm just watching it and I see this going gap 25 seconds, 23 seconds, 20 seconds, 18, 15. And then it's down into the single digits with like 4 to go. And I'm like, come on, God.
Yeah, I was watching the replay the after the race, and I'm watching the like lap differential or the time differential to you, and it's not like just staying steady and ticking down. It was like a stopwatch just rolling, getting smaller.
So yes, I still will argue that I would have won regardless of having the lap car to cling on to. But it would have been
Maybe a little touch closer
a touch closer in the end. But
than if we had gotten inside that kind of 2 second mark. We
well,
would have
you
started picking up
guys on the
your
last lap
draft.
about took each other out. The four of you back there.
Yeah, I mean that was wild. There were four of us. You're off on your own little island, and then there's four of us just running nose to tail for about 15 laps.
You tapped one of the cars. Joe was taken out by his teammate.
Well, Joe ran out of gas. And
Oh,
I think that abrupt slowing, his teammate got into the back end of him. Then um Josh Chinsky, I
yeah, Josh.
think maybe slid up just a touch. We tapped and it wasn't that big a deal. And I thought, oh man, I'm gonna be fourth. But he ran out of fuel going down the front stretch,
Yeah, you
like
drifted
right before the
across.
line. I'm like, what is going on here?
And you drifted across the finish, or you cruised across the finish line and pulled off a last second, third place finish. So it's
Yeah,
double
that
podium
last
night.
tap actually was a 0x, so it wasn't even a big deal. But yeah, ended up third and have now taken over the points lead. So it was a great day
I'm in
for
second.
racing. Yeah, you had a big points night and running second now.
It just that was such a unbelievable. And the thing is, like, I was watching my heart rate throughout the evening, and it was that last 20 laps looked like I had just like run wind sprints, and uh my foot was kind of like I was like shaking in that last like 10 laps or so. And I'm just like, come on, come on. But it was actually kind of funny. I said this to Taka after the race in the post-race interview. I said my foot was shaking, but I'm sitting there feathering the throttle the whole time. So shaking was naturally feathering the throttle. So it's great because this is the first, league event where we had a decent sized
Yeah,
field
we
that
had
I
14
came out
cars
with.
take the green flag.
Yep.
And it actually went about how I thought it would. We had some cautions and a couple big wrecks, but the nature of that track, you are going to run in a pack. And if you stay within the draft, you're going to move.
The the two things I noticed were that track was really bumpy.
Yeah, it felt
And
bumpier in
yeah,
past
I don't remember it
races.
being that bumpy. But the second part of it is if you came like, you had that first groove, that low groove, and if you kind of half like first groove, half second groove, and you try to like correct yourself and get into one or the other, hang on as you slide across. And I almost
I
lost it
don't
a couple
know.
of times that last night.
I don't know if you noticed, I was running a completely different line
You
than everybody else all night.
Yeah. I was running the low line and I was using the second line, because what you do is you get your full head of steam on the pack, and I'd come up on the car in the low line, and I would move into that second groove and just launch myself. And I had a couple like fifth to second moves and almost pulled off like a fourth to first the one time. I didn't quite clear the lead car, but
I don't know if you noticed earlier too. I was kind of yo-yoing in the field.
yeah,
Just
I
kind of
did notice that.
gauging. A lot of it was just kind of gauging like how easily can I move up?
And there was some 3 and 4 wide going on.
Because I was just kind of chilling out in the back there really for the first third to half of the race.
I just knew I had to stay close to the front. I didn't have to be in the front, but I mean,
I just wanted to
I,
stay in the back.
I totally botched my qualifying run. I don't know what I was thinking. I just completely like, everyone stuck to the low line, and I didn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And I was like probably, I don't know, 7/10 of a second off a pole. It was awful.
I
But
ran the race
watching
line
everybody
qualifying.
fight, it was just like, okay, this is good. But I've
That was good.
noticed Bill Colley had a good night until he got into a late wreck. But I've noticed with him, he takes the approach where he starts in the back on purpose. Like he doesn't even
Mhm.
do a qualifying run. He will sit in the back and he just kind of sits back there and lets, everyone fight. And then late, he just methodically works his way to the front. And I don't know, about half to 2/3 of the way through, one minute he's sitting there, just hanging back there in 14th place, or he moved up a couple spots with the Rex, but he's hanging in the back. And next thing you know, he's up front leading the race.
Oh yeah,
And he won
it's a
at
fun
least one
race.
race doing that this year. And almost worked for him again if he wouldn't have got into his accident.
Yeah, the wrecks were unfortunate, but from what I could tell, a lot of them just racing deals.
So on to the road course next week.
Yeah, Indy
Should have been
Road.
our second road course, but you know,
Yeah, it'll be
first road
good.
course.
Big
And
test coming up.
yeah, we'll see
Actually,
how
the next
everybody
three
handles.
races now are gonna be pretty wild. Indy Road, Milwaukee, and then Road Atlanta.
Oof, Milwaukee
It
with a
could be
field of
a
about 14 or 15 is going to get
it could be a tough stretch, and it could really open up some point standings depending how people run. And then we finish off with Iowa, Texas, and a long one at Vegas.
yeah, that's this stretch right here is going to really set the tone for the final couple of races. And I just, I want to come out of there. My goal is for these uh the two road course races is I need to come out of there at least mid-pack both races.
Yeah, I need to really make some good road runs. Hopefully, get some points help somewhere, and then hopefully pick up a good Milwaukee run. I like racing that track. Actually, I haven't raced it, but just running it, it's been a lot of fun.
It's gonna be interesting. Not a lot of passing opportunities. Small track.
Small track is going to be who's willing to gamble and take risks. So it could be
Yeah,
a little bit of a bloodbath,
yeah,
maybe.
we thinking the one fast repair might not be enough.
That's part of the fun with the league. It's kind of that risk reward, knowing you have one in the bag, but if you do it too much, it's gonna not end well.
Oh man. So we're still a couple weeks away from Wednesday Night Dash, but this Saturday, actually, assuming I can get my broadcast PC working, I was working on this for like the last hour. My graphics driver keeps crashing, and I don't know why, but I was loading and getting OBS loaded up, and then black screen. So hopefully we can get this thing working. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, be our first, it's not really a league per se, but we will be running on a monthly basis. Well, you tell me, Eric, this is, you've been organizing this.
Yeah, if we have a big event like any of the 6 hour, 12 hour, 24 hour races, we're gonna do a hour and a half race for our team members. Just kind of get out, race format, kind of get into that mindset. That way it's not just yourself running lap after lap, but actually get other cars out there, different classes. This Saturday is going to be at the Indy Road Course with all the IMSA classes, GTP, the LMP2 and GT3s.
The one LMP2.
Yes. So it'll be nice to have three different classes out there, get used to running some different stuff. We're going to have some weather that's going to hit during the course of the race, and that way it just gives us some practice for when it hits us in the middle of Daytona.
And it will. It will. There's
Yeah,
almost a guarantee that it will.
Three of our guys ran Sebring, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Mark, Ian,
Two
and
of
Hunter.
them, two of them had rain during their stints. So kind of a glorified practice, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a glorified practice. It'll be set up as a race, and we'll be broadcasting those monthly events on Stadium Scene TV. I'll be behind the mic because
Yeah, this Saturday will be a 45-minute sprint
Yep.
race.
So
But
we'll be
it'll be
behind
fun
the.
to watch the pits.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And also, too, in the broadcast, we'll be able to give you a good perspective once the rain comes in. I got to figure out how to show the weather map on the broadcast without the rest of the iRacing Dash. I hope you can.
Now I have a little bit of a heads up since I set it up. I know when the rain is going to hit.
Well, it should be, if you look at the hosted session, we have.
Yeah, you can look into it anyway.
Yeah, so yeah, so since we can predict the weather now, come and check it out. We'll show you in car what it looks like from the driver's perspective, and you'll get to watch and see how strategies change. And when you make that decision, it's time to stop and change to rain tires, or when to get off the rain tires. It
Yeah,
adds
little spoiler. There's going to be some rain that hits before qualifying opens up. Then it goes overcast. So it'll be fun to see what the track does. We'll start the race with it overcast. Rain will move in, and then at the end, it's going to get a little foggy.
Yeah, that'll be fun for the broadcast, but otherwise,
It'll be light fog. Shouldn't be too bad.
Light fog, and these things have headlights, so that works. So, yep, check that out. 9 a.m. Eastern on Stadium Scene TV. So we've got three different things going on, in the live racing front. So this is a lot of fun, especially to do it on a monthly basis and give me a chance to get behind the mic. I don't know. Taka might be joining me as a second this weekend, but we will see. Worst case, it'll be me.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully get some of the guys to come out and join us.
And if you want to join,
you can make fun of me the entire time.
Yeah, if you want to join, race with us, hop in our Discord. The link's in this in the description of this episode. So join us in the Discord. Let us know you
want some endurance racing. Come join us.
Yeah,
we're drivers.
Come in, introduce yourself. Let us know you want to race, and we'll get you the info. So, and even if you can't make this one, we'll post the schedule. So finally, not really a lot to talk about the NASCAR race other than that last restart.
I watched none of it, and it sounds like I didn't miss much.
I was in and out. Saturday, I was mentally exhausted from the Purdue game.
Actually, I take that back. I did watch the last 2 laps.
I was in and out after that, and my head was just not in it afterwards, because I was just, I've never been more stressed watching a sporting event in my life other than Game 7 of the 2016 World Series when the Cubs almost blew the lead. And then the rain delay happened. And my wife is like, "Do I need to call an ambulance? Are you having a heart attack?" And I'm like, "I might be. Get that ambulance on standby."
Yeah, I skipped a mandatory meeting I was supposed to go to that night. I'm not missing game 7. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, when's that going to happen again? Maybe. Never.
I mean, you can't. I don't have it here, but I have quite a bit of Cub stuff. It's just not on this wall.
Yeah, we can turn the camera up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
And you got the flag behind me. So, yeah, Denny jumped the restart. NASCAR said, boys will be boys. Let it go. Truex was upset.
I guess Logano went onto a rant today.
Yeah, I saw the rant. I didn't see what he said specifically, though. I kind of tune his rants out.
You know, NASCAR puts himself in a bad spot, I think. When you come out and say, well, if this is on like lap 50 or even 300, yeah, we're probably going to penalize him. But since we can't call timeout and go to video review,
Yeah.
oh, you're fine.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's tough. They're moving. There's 2 laps to go. What are you gonna do? Like, the race is over, and 10 minutes later, be like, "Just kidding, you get black flagged."
Uh, to me, I think it's pretty cut and dry, even with 2 laps on a short track. Look at the telemetry. The cars are all hooked up.
He jumped it. Pretty
Oh,
straightforward.
acceleration, video, you're before the line, you jumped.
Yeah, I think they should be
And
able to figure that out pretty quickly. And even if on a short track where you're running, what's a lap around Richmond? 20,
maybe 20 seconds.
20 seconds
What we were
roughly.
doing. Even that, you take the white flag, you also get the black flag.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Everyone's racing for position anyway. If he's going to get penalized, even after they take the checkered flag, what does it matter? Everyone else is racing. It's not like, "Oh, Denny's gone. I'm not going to even try anymore." You're still racing for position. You black flag him, you penalize him, whatever, move him to the end of the line or whatever the penalty ends up being for that.
Yeah, I'd
And
say probably just, even if it hits late, go to the end of the line. That's probably where it was going to line up
yeah,
if
I mean,
you
it's
went
an
a lap
awkward
earlier.
celebration because now you have Denny celebrating and doing burnouts and then being informed that, "Oh, you didn't actually win this race." But hey, it wouldn't be the first time that Denny celebrated a win and then told after the fact he didn't win the race.
It'd
I wonder if he still has that trophy.
be funny if he does.
I would assume he does because Chase said he didn't want it. He's like, "I'm not taking a win that way." No. And I bet you Denny still has that trophy at his house. I
Probably.
would I would bet money that he still has that.
It's the one front and center in the collection.
My win, asterisk. So
Yeah, they got to do something because the precedent is now set that if you get a green white checker, which it's NASCAR, we know there's going to be at least 10 of them throughout the course of the year.
yeah.
Where do you draw the line now? Can you back it up 2 more feet?
I don't
And
know.
well, they're not going to call it. So,
They don't pay me for my opinion, so I'll let them figure that one out themselves.
oh yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Hey, back to the scene of the crime at Martinsville this weekend. We got a triple header of trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I get the safety implications of it, but it's still one of the coolest moves I've ever seen. And it should be allowed to happen again.
Oh,
Talk about a Hail Mary for the ages
yeah.
and the fact it worked.
Yeah. If it didn't work, people are like, "Well, I guess didn't Kyle Larson try something like that and not pull it off?" Or
I It sounds familiar.
I remember Carl Edwards tried something like that years ago. Not riding the wall, but he tried to do this like really wide, like uh he quoted himself. It was a video game movie. He tried to make this really like sharp pass, and he ended up just putting himself into the wall. He's like, tried a video game move, didn't work.
You pretty much say Larson wall rides every race because he is very good riding right up on the wall at any track.
He's he's a little over he's a month little under 2 months away from his attempt at the double.
Yeah, it's fun. I get to watch him there at the first half.
I am wondering how he will do. I tell you,
Yeah,
Kurt
I'm
Busch pulling the
intrigued.
double, that doesn't get talked about as much as it should. What was that, 2014 that he pulled the double?
I feel like I was at that race.
Because he finished like sixth.
He had a good run.
Yeah, he finished sixth, 2014. He drove for Andretti that year.
Actually, what year did I go back? I had a little bit of break. I didn't go till the 100th running.
I think I have that car. The 100th running, what was that, 2016?
Yeah, I think it was 2016. Yeah, Alex Rossi won that one. I had that one marked on my calendar for a good 10 years that I was going to go.
That's right. That race, the 2014 race, the first 150 laps ran caution free. But because he is just the second driver to complete all 1,100 miles between Indy and Charlotte. But he had to start in the back because he was late for the drivers' meeting because he. You remember when like John Andretti and like Robbie Gordon would do the double?
Yeah, Tony
And
Stewart did a double.
yeah, John Andretti was usually out of the race by like halfway, so he's like, all right, plenty of time to get to Charlotte. So who's the other one that? Do you know who the other one was?
That
Ah,
11.
so yes, there have only been two drivers. I know the answer now. There are only two drivers who completed all 1,100 miles between the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600. Kurt Busch was one of them. Who is the other one?
I think it was Tony Stewart.
It was Tony Stewart, 2001.
And he was almost like suffering dehydration at the end of the Coke 600, wasn't it?
Yeah, yep.
And that brought a little bit of a question if it should be allowed to do again.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon did double in 2002, 2003, 2004. Yeah, it's what do you like? It's just mind blowing. You drive 1,100 miles, two different cars, two different, completely different style of tracks, and you have to be on a plane in between the two.
I think you'd find a way to stretch out and take a nap on the plane.
Yeah,
They're flying private
yeah,
planes.
he's got a nice little private jet.
There's a bed or couch or something to relax on.
Just the mental. Oh, that's right. In 2015, Jeff Gordon drove the pace car for the Indy 500 to start the race and then flew to Charlotte.
That's one driver I would have liked to have seen take one shot at the 500.
All right, so I've got the results here. John Andretti was the first in 94. He finished 10th in the 500, 4 laps down, and he finished 36th at the Coke 600. Davy Jones tried it in 95, but he did not qualify for the Coca-Cola 600. And that's the other thing, too, is he had to go to Charlotte to qualify on Saturday, then go back to Indianapolis. Oh, man, what a weekend that would
Yeah, you
be.
got to qualify.
Robbie Gordon. Oh, and then Robbie Gordon. So 97 was the double rainout year for the 500. So Sunday, there was no racing at all. Then Robbie Gordon had to fly to so Robbie Gordon had to fly to Charlotte, run the Coke 600 Sunday evening. Then he had to fly back to Indianapolis to race on Monday, and he only made it 19 laps before his car caught on fire. And I remember because he caught on fire, you couldn't really see the flames from where I was sitting, but I could see him. And all of a sudden, he pulls his car over and he gets out of his car, and he just starts rolling around on the ground. And they come run up with the fire extinguishers and yeah.
It's
So
the one race that I wish I had been able to go to. Because when it finished on Tuesday, they were just letting people in to
yeah,
watch.
I was there Tuesday. My mom called. Told this story before. My mom called me in sick to school, and they said, "All right, well, you have fun at the track."
Yeah, my parents didn't want to do it, but then years later, they're like, "Yeah, we should
Oh,
have just
I
done."
was going. That was a birthday present. That was the first race I ever attended, and I'm like, I'm not missing this. This is my birthday present. And yeah, my mom called me in sick. My dad and I, my dad drove me down to the 500. We walked right in. They aren't checking tickets or anything. We just walked right in the door.
That's where the years later, once I was driving, they did let me skip school for the fan days to drive around the track and do that stuff. I'm like, yes.
I never did that though. That was that was the most fun school skip I ever did.
I've gotten to run around the speedway and I've
Yep,
gotten
me
to drive
too.
around it.
Uh, yeah, let's see. So the rest of
Some point I'd
them,
like to race it, even if it's as an owner.
or wait, no, Kurt Busch didn't complete all. Yeah, he didn't complete them all. Why does it say he did? Yeah, he was way short of completing all. Yeah, Tony Stewart is the only one to do it. This article is wrong.
Based on Auto Week, an article, it says only Tony Stewart has completed.
Yeah, I just pulled up some other article about it, and I don't know. That was wrong. Bad info. We make mistakes sometimes. It happens. Anyway,
At least
we're
Kyle
gonna
Larson's in playoffs, so
yeah.
it's not as big a deal if he goes out.
Just has to get there. Hopefully, that would be wild if they're, in bad weather and he can't even get his plane out. Do you imagine that? One of your biggest stars of the sport misses the Coca-Cola 600 because it's raining in Indianapolis.
I think they would find a way to drive or they'd have police escorts.
They like drive them into Ohio and like we gotta find or drive them over to some little municipal. Get another plane standing by. Anyway, so tune in
Well,
Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Stadium Scene
well,
TV.
Kyle Larson's getting used to some of these cross country flights. He's going to race Darlington here in May and head up to Kokomo on Monday.
Yeah, he's gonna do all. Yeah, I mean he does it already with all his dirt track racing.
So he should be good for that Indy Coke double.
Yeah, so we'll see how he does. So tune in Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern on Stadium Scene TV, assuming I can get my broadcast PC working here.
Have some fun.
I'm stubborn, so I'm going to go back and start working on this again, even though I wasn't planning on it. And thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And give us a follow at FR Racing Online. hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Take care.